Assalamu alaikum dear students, hope all of you will be doing great. We are going to start our course of Industrial Biotechnology and this is going to be your first lecture. In first lecture we are going to discuss about the definition of Industrial Biotechnology and then we will start our content number 1. So Industrial Biotechnology, as all of you know, is also called White Biotechnology, and we can define it as the modern use and applications of biotechnology for sustainable processing and production of chemicals, materials, and fuels from renewable resources using living cells, living organisms, or we can even use their enzymes. So, in simple words, we can say that use of biological systems for manufacturing different products, different industrial products. As all of you know about insulin, insulin is also a product of industrial biotechnology, which was produced by using a bacterial system. We will start from water pollution. Water, as all of you know, is a basic natural resource which is required by all human beings, and we require a minimum intake of water, which is approximately 2.8 to 13 liters per head per day. This is minimum requirement. Water is normally taken in food and various drinks, and intake must balance the water loss from the body. And as you know that water loss from the body through various processes including breathing, sweating, excretion, and if there is no intake of water into the body, death can ensure in 7 to 10 days. Well, water is also essential to man for maintaining personal hygiene and freedom from disease. The total fresh water which is available is 46,768 cubic kilometer, which is approximately 0.00034% of the total global water. Out of the total volume of water, the world water consumption is estimated at 4,000 cubic kilometer, which consists of 2680 cubic kilometers for agriculture, 973 cubic kilometers for industry, 300 cubic kilometers for municipal supplies, and 170 cubic kilometers in various reservoirs. Well, in addition to personal use, water is also required for many other purposes, which include public water supplies, industrial water, cooling water, water for agriculture, and for amenity and recreational purposes. Public water supplies include domestic households, for example, drinking, cooking, dishwashing, general cleaning, laundry, personal washing and bathing. Similarly, washing cars, gardens. So these are all public water supplies. Then next one is industrial water supplies. Industrial water supplies generally require large quantities of water for various purposes, for example, steam rising, material processing, and disposal of wastes. Third use of water is cooling water, which is used in large quantities for generation of electricity. And this water is usually obtained from rivers and lakes. And then we have water for agricultural industry. As compared to all other industries, the agricultural industry use small quantities of water in dairy processing, animal hygiene, stock watering, land irrigation. Similarly, washing marketable vegetables, and there are a lot others. Next point is water for amenity and recreational purposes. This type of water is used for different water sports such as swimming, fishing, boating, etc., and for different commercial purposes. We have two major sources of water which include surface water and groundwater. Surface water is that which is drawn from streams, rivers, lakes, and storage reservoirs, and groundwater is drawn from underground aquifers through boreholes and wells. So, this was all about water, from where it is obtained and where it is used, and how much important it is for our daily life. Now, let us discuss about water pollution. Water pollution is a term which is used for a natural or induced change in the quality of water, which makes it unusable or dangerous for food, human, and animal health, including industry, agriculture, fishing, or various other pursuits. This change can be natural or induced. Induced include human activities which causes pollutants to enter natural waters. For example, we uh, we say that a river is polluted if water is turbid, has foam on its surface, has an objectionable smell, and does not support fish and other living organisms. It means that polluted water can be observed by naked eye and we can even smell it. So, from where is this water pollution coming? The main source is the discharge of solid or liquid waste products which contain pollutants which are then discharged on surface of earth, and they are also discharged in coastal waters. So we generally categorize them into three types, which include sewage waste, industrial waste, and agricultural waste. First of all, we will discuss sewage waste. Sewage waste is basically the contents of sewers. Okay, what are these sewers? These are the contents which are produced from sewerage system and which contain waterborne wastes of any community, and they actually originate from domestic and commercial premises, which include land drains, industrial plants, and agricultural sites. Other industrial wastes are directly discharged into rivers, canals, and seas, and not into the sewage system. But the one which are discharged into the sewage system, they are actually the sewage waste. So the largest volume of discharged waste is in the form of an effluent. We are using the term effluent. What is this effluent? Effluent is any solid, liquid, or gaseous product which is in a treated or untreated condition and it is discharged from a process. So it means that effluent can be a major pollutant or any minor pollutant, and it can be in any form. It can be solid, liquid, or gaseous product, which can be a product of industry or any agricultural waste. These effluents vary in their nature depending upon the source from where they are coming. For example, if they are coming from agricultural source, they may not be too much harmful, and if they are coming from an industry, of course they will be harmful, and their nature can be organic or inorganic. Well, it can vary in quality or strength, and it can be harmful or harmless. It can be highly toxic or less toxic as well. So basically we have various types of effluents depending upon the source from where they are coming. Number one is sewage works effluent. Sewage work effluent is that type which comes from domestic and commercial premises, and it often contains some industrial waste. It is normally treated before discharged into water source. It means that effluent can be treated discharge or untreated discharge. If it is treated, it means the treatment was not completed and it is still a little bit toxic material which is discharged into natural reservoirs. Okay, then we will come towards the next type of effluent, which is industrial plant effluent. This effluent originates from all manufacturing and processing industrial plants. It is mostly treated or it is even untreated form, and it is discharged into sewers and it is treated as sewage. Next one is agricultural premises effluent. This one originates from agricultural premises. For example, dairy farms, cattle housing premises, and this one is usually untreated. And next one is waste tip seepage. It comes from domestic and industrial waste tips, different waste spoil heaps, and it comes directly into the ground and then into water reservoirs, and it is mostly untreated. Next one is runoff from land. This is untreated natural drainage of groundwater which comes directly into watercourses. Next one is accidental spillage of chemicals during loading and transit from industrial storage tanks and oil refineries. Okay, the next important source of water pollution is industrial waste, which basically comes from industrial processes. Industrial effluents differ in their potential and strength in causing pollution of water. They are mostly more toxic as compared to other type of pollutants. For example, we have paper pulp industry, we have coal carbonization industry, wool scoring and tanning industry, and similarly we have pharmaceutical manufacturing industries. So all these industries produce some waste, and for this we use various terms which are BOD and COD. These terms are used to measure the amount of toxicity which is actually present in water. First of all, we will discuss BOD. BOD is also called biological oxygen demand. It is actually the amount of dissolved oxygen which is needed by aerobic biological organisms to break down organic material present in a given water sample at certain temperature over a specific time period. So this parameter is actually used to measure the toxicity present in water, and it is used as a water quality parameter, and it provides an index to assess the effect discharged wastewater will have on the receiving environment. Well, this term is used when we are using biological treatment processes for reducing water pollution. So that's why the word biological is used here. Higher BOD means there is a greater amount of organic matter or food present into the water for oxygen consuming bacteria. This food actually means the presence of pollutants. These pollutants are being used as food by aerobic microorganisms, and biological oxygen demand means that higher BOD is actually indicating more toxicity, and more microorganisms can receive food from it. Next term which we can use is COD, which is chemical oxygen demand. This term is used when we are using a chemical method instead of biological method. And COD is an indicative measure of the amount of oxygen that can be consumed by reactions in a measured solution. We are not using any biological system, instead we are using chemicals. It is commonly expressed in mass of oxygen consumed over volume of solution, milligram per liter. Higher COD means that there is higher amount of pollution in the test sample. For the contaminants that can be oxidized biologically, BOD method is used, and where we cannot use any biological system, we use COD as a parameter for testing water pollution. As we have already discussed that effluents can be of various natures depending upon the source from where they're coming. So the industrial effluents, they mostly contain a number of polluting chemical substances, and the major classes are organics and inorganics. Organic effluents and inorganic effluents. Organic effluents contain proteins, carbohydrates, fats and oils, dyestuffs, organic acids, phenols, detergents, and organopesticides. And inorganic effluents contain acids, alkalis, metals, metallic salts, phosphates, nitrates, various salts, bleaches, sulfides, cyanides, cyanates, chromates, and minerals. Then we will come towards agricultural waste, which is a major source of water pollution, as industrial and sewage waste. So agricultural waste is basically coming from agricultural industry, and agricultural industry produces considerable quantities of a large amount of potent organic effluents. For example, cattle, pig, and poultry houses, they produce a large amount of manure slurry, And this manure slurry consists of excreta, urine, bedding materials, various pesticides which are derived from fodder, as well as phosphate and nitrates. And these nitrate and phosphate derivatives are derived from manure slurry, which contain pesticides, and it is also derived from fertilizers which are used. Farmers have to dispose of this waste slurry, and the method used to dispose of may create water pollution. This slurry is usually stored and spread or sprayed onto grassland, and it again increases pollution. Surface drainage and underground leaching and seepage can cause organic pollution and increase in concentration of nitrates and phosphates in water courses. This effect is observed when there are substantial quantities of nitrogenous and phosphatic fertilizers which are being used, and pesticides and fertilizers are regularly applied to farmland and crops. Similarly, there is marine water which is increasingly polluted by crude oil. This crude oil is coming from industries, tankers. There are other accidental events as well which discharge oil into surface of water, for example, from storage tanks, from pipelines, and from oil refineries. Some of the events are accidental, some of them are intentional, and all of these are increasing water pollution. There is environmental concern about specific effluents that contain radioactive pollutants. For example, there are various pollutants which are coming from nuclear reactors, and they are actually increasing the radioactivity. So we have to design approaches for this effluent treatment. Ideally, no effluent should be released into the environment before it has received satisfactory treatment. But there are processes which release effluents into environment which are either not treated or they are partially treated, and they still contain a lot of toxic material which is released into the environment. So this was about water pollution. In next lecture we will discuss about the treatment processes which are used for effluent treatment, for this pollution and its treatment.